What the is wrong with you today?
We moved. We moved. Everything is broken.
Nothing is broken.
The green is out behind me. I
No,
feel,
it's not.
Okay, right now it is, but it's going to change. Hello, guys. Welcome to the Dead IT Show. I'm Yasmin. This is Vedran, and I'm trying to do an improvisation of the intro.
After a 2 month break of recording.
After a 2-month break, we had a break. We had fun.
We had seasons in the sun.
Yes, everything was done that needed to be done on the sun, and I'm rhyming, and that's not good. Anyways, today's episode is probably going to be a little bit all over the place because we are talking about customer support. My direct reason why I wanted to talk about this is because almost all of us use free services. We are using free Viber, we are using free WhatsApp, we are using free Facebook, we are probably using free Gmail, because a lot of people that I know are actually paying for some Gmail storage. So Gmail is maybe something that you're not using completely free. But almost all of those things have one thing in common, and that is that they are trying to avoid direct contact with support. And their main reason is because they have hundreds of millions of users. Mm-hmm. So without further ado, let's roll the intro and then see what's up.
Okay.
Okay.
Before we start, just one thing. Like, share, subscribe. And feel free to comment in the comment section.
Yes, and ring the bell and everything.
Although the episode might be all over the place, our comments might be even worse.
For this thing, I would like to hear the comments, because we are in Croatia, as you probably don't know, and the thing is that we have viewers from all over the planet, and our viewers that are listening in the States are probably not that much influenced with what we had to say, because in our country, one of the biggest problem is that even the post office is not working correctly, and some of the things that are normal on
that is going to be my topic.
Yes, and the thing that is normal in one place is not normal in the other. So I would pretty much like to hear stories from other places, because I know that in India and in Greece and in Croatia and in the United States, in France, in Germany, in the UK, Ireland, and wherever everybody is listening to this, things may or may not look different. Mm-hmm. This is one thing, and depending on the place where you at, and depending on what is this particular service doing in your country. Mm-hmm. So, for example, some services have headquarters, European headquarters in Germany, some have in Ireland. So those countries tend to be more supported than others. Mm-hmm. In Croatia, we like to think that we are the end of the world and nobody's supporting us. Boo-hoo-hoo, we are small. But I know that there are much more worst off places in the world that don't have any support at all. Mm-hmm. So let us know in the comments.
Okay.
Now,
where do you want to start? What triggered you for this episode? Is there a particular trigger, or has it been a long time coming?
It has been a long time coming, but what I wanted to say is that there is no free support, and yet we are using free services. So this means that somebody has to provide you service that is going to be free for you, and they need to pay for the support infrastructure and everything else. So we know that there is no free lunch. We know that the data that we are putting onto the internet or directly to the service that we are talking to, so I don't know, Viber, WhatsApp, whatever, because Viber and WhatsApp tend to be the most normal ones, or the most usual ones when it comes to topics about support. And on the other hand, we are expecting that they are going to support us the same as if we were paying customers. And first thing is they cannot even try to provide enough direct human contact with users. So there is no way for Viber to provide 120 million users with direct human contact. And the second thing is that sometimes you just have a problem that nobody can answer you. And my direct reason for this episode was that a friend of mine was asking me to help him because his kid was moving from one phone to the other. And something broke in the WhatsApp application. And then what happened is that he had absolutely no way of fixing the problem. The WhatsApp account was locked. He couldn't contact any support. He couldn't get to anybody. And when he got to that person, they said that they cannot do anything because he needs to be logged in through the account that was locked in order to establish that he owns the account.
Can I play for your team on that part? I recently also switched phones, went from S20 to S23. I haven't had such catastrophic experiences with Viber and WhatsApp. My experiences with those two were awful in completely different way, which was the whole chat history, all of the things, all of it was lost. I'm not necessarily very, I don't know how to say this, but I'm not really intrinsically connected to the chat history. It's not about that. It's about the fact that there are some real important information that I had there. And partially I'm to blame because at least one of them, I don't think I've turned on the backup. So it might be me, but for the second one, I know I had it. And, when I switched my phone, this was, so Viber and WhatsApp were two of my 3 or 4 problems.
Yes, and the other thing that I just
want there's no support for that. You can forget it.
Yeah, yes and no. And the other thing is that it seems that everybody thinks that both Viber and WhatsApp are cloud-based services. So for some reason, people actually think or feel that whatever they're doing is getting uploaded to the cloud, and that they have a cloud backup of everything that has been done on the chat service. And that is completely wrong. And I'm not saying completely because whatever is in Viber and WhatsApp or whatever, you're basically moving a small database on your phone from phone to phone. And when you are trying to get a new device running, you can get the new device running by syncing with the old device because the database needs to get moved. And some of the services don't provide you with the ability to work on 2 different devices. You cannot run, or you couldn't run a Viber on a tablet.
WhatsApp was even worse.
WhatsApp was even worse. You couldn't run both of them on a tablet and a phone at the same time. You couldn't run WhatsApp on 2 different phones at the same time, even if they had the same phone number, because that's possible with multisim.
Yes.
And
although most of the mobile services provider are moving away from that idea.
Yes, but
for some reason.
Because they're trying to sell more SIMs. This is the other thing. Because when it looks much better if you are selling SIMs and then saying, okay, I have 1.3 million customers, and customers are based on the number of SIMs that are being sold.
Oh, so we are back to the marketing episode.
Yes.
Okay.
We are back to units, and we are back to.
If I can riff on that, they suck. Because most of the SIMs, at least in our country and region, are still plastic ones.
But okay, I'm going to go with the flow and say that eSIM is the future.
Yeah.
But and they are supported. You can get eSIMs from all the providers. The only thing is that it's going to take them probably a couple of years because before they understand that you should be able to provision yourself an eSIM completely automatically. I think that only one of the providers here actually supports that.
Both big ones do support eSIMs. I know. I recently
they support eSIMs, but not self-service.
Yeah, correct.
You need to actually go to the physical place in order to get a virtual SIM. So okay, let's not talk about how stupid it is. Especially when you keep into account that I'm not going to name names, but one of those has a virtual operator. Or a low-cost virtual operator associated with the big operator, and the customers of that low-cost operator can provision eSIMs directly and can provision actual SIMs directly. You can actually go to the any kiosk that sells top-up cards, and you can buy a SIM and then provision this SIM as part of your account. So this is just something that it's a thing that can be done. It should be done, but it wasn't done.
Okay.
Okay, now what's your pet service that provides you
Pet
no
peeve
support?
service.
No, pet service that provides you no support but exists.
Can I start with the local one first? This is not necessarily going to be something that a lot of our listeners and viewers are going to be able to connect with, but I'm sure that you have at least some similar experiences. Because I haven't even told you about this, and you need to hear about it. So I made a purchase on Amazon some 2 months ago,
Okay.
and the thing didn't arrive.
Okay.
In the Amazon's tracking service, the message from the delivery agency, which was our Croatian Post,
Yes. Croatian Post Office.
as always they lie about it, as
Yes.
we know, said that they were unable to deliver it. And when I noticed that message, I wrote them an email using their support contacts for that specific service.
Yes.
So I did everything by the book. I received a reply from that service last week, which is 7.5 weeks later. Actually, you need to hear about the rest of the situation, which is they didn't even apologize for that. They actually said, "Yeah, this is our answer, and we're gonna send you a written explanation of what happened." I don't give a crap what happened. I want my shipment. So this is something that's along the lines of what used to happen with some of the cloud services years ago.
The problem with especially with the post office, is that people underestimate that there are two things that are more or less required in order to have a normal functioning developing country. One thing is the post office, and this is what the United States realized in the 19th century when they actually created post offices. In probably the first thing that was created was the train stop, and then they created the post office,
Yeah.
because they wanted to be able to deliver goods, because you need to be able to deliver goods reliably on time. And the other thing that needs to be reliable is the power. So if you have electricity and reliable delivery, in today's world, you can get everything. And this is one of those things that people take for granted. They think that the post office should be just selling stamps and not doing anything. And then this is what happens with the post office. Our Croatian post office is special.
We are not using that term to kindly describe them.
I'm just
by the
going
way.
to say that all my interactions with the post office were either me trying to understand why my package arrived in Zagreb. So the sorting place is in Zagreb, the capital of Croatia. We live in Zagreb, the capital of Croatia. Usually it takes a post package probably 48 to 72 hours to arrive from anywhere within EU to Zagreb, and then it takes 5 to 6 days to for the Zagreb delivery to finish the last part of it. That's last 5 miles.
Last
10
mile.
miles. Last mile, basically. My parcels got stolen. And explicitly stolen, because I had the tracking number and I know when they were stolen, because I got the actual number in the post office, and they said that what I'm talking about, they don't care even if I have the number, because they can see that nothing happened. And this is one of those things that provides you support that is not a support.
The second part of my story is related to their packet service. We have those packet machines all over the place now in Zagreb, and you can
Yes.
redirect your shipments to them.
Or they are going to do it.
Yeah. But you get the message on Viber or via email. Click on the link, redirect that to a package machine place, and you usually wait for a week for that to get there.
So basically what we have is, for all the listeners who have this, it's an Amazon locker, but dysfunctional.
Yes.
So basically it adds 2 to 3 days to your delivery time. And then this means that your delivery time can be as long
More
as
like a
10
week.
days and 10 days. It depends. It depends.
For
If
me,
you-
it's
if-
actually an average.
If you're lucky, you're going to get 2 days added to your delivery time, and your delivery time is usually something like 4 or 5 days. So it's going to be 7 or 8 days before you.
Yeah, if Amazon sends me something with any other shipping service, it is always going to arrive much sooner.
And this is one of those things that I also wanted to talk about. We are not right now strictly talking about support. We are talking about delivery, but it is amazing that sometimes.
I mean, post office, what support? They don't have support, obviously, because they take 7 weeks to answer.
Yes, but the other thing is that sometimes.
And you don't want to call them because you know what the call center looks like. You call them and then you listen to the IVR music for the next hour.
Is it good music, Kenny?
No, but you can if you want to watch that scene, just come to our company's offices roughly around 10 a.m. and go to our main desk in the lobby, because that's what usually our colleagues do there. They usually call the post office in the morning, and almost always, without any exception, every single day from 10 to 11, 1 hour of listening to that stupid melody.
I'm just going to suggest something. I think that we know a guy who is doing the networking for the post office. So probably we can influence some people's there. But let's not talk about this in public.
That's not.
Anyways.
Yeah, that's not the solution to the problem. Yeah.
But the problem is that the problem actually does not exist. The problem is completely created by the post office.
Yes.
The biggest problem that we have is that Amazon thinks that they're delivering the goods on time.
Yeah.
They don't understand that. I wouldn't call them lies. So almost everything about delivery when the package comes into Croatia is fiction.
Yes.
I wouldn't call it lies because they are not just lying; they're just completely making up things. Mm-hmm. So they're saying that
delivery tried without ever
yes.
ever
first
getting
delivery
there.
tried. Then they said that they couldn't read my address, and then they said that nobody was home.
Yeah.
Then they said that the delivery address does not exist, and then they delivered it to address that does not exist. Yeah. So it's basically just
ping pong.
It's just probably. I think it's an SQL trigger that actually when the package first arrives in Croatia, basically makes up an error message in order to make Amazon happy because they have tried.
Yeah, I have a special pet peeve about one of the situations. I'm sure you ended up in those as well. When you get the message that the package has been loaded to the delivery truck,
yes,
and then you get it in 3 or 4 days.
Yes.
This is my favorite part.
But you know what the difference is between the services that are delivering on time and the services that are not?
Yeah, me pissed off versus me not pissed off. But
no, the guys who are delivering on time are paid base salary, and then the rest of the salary depends on the number of packages they deliver. And the people who are not delivering the packages are basically only paid base salary.
If I can, and I shouldn't, but I still will, I have a very, very, very good delivery guy for UPS.
Yes.
We've become friends over the years because he's been in charge of my area for 4 or 5 years now. And he does the job that delivery services should do. He calls me in the morning to tell me the package is in my truck. He asks me if I'm home. If I'm not, then he asks me if he can leave the package somewhere else, at my mother's apartment or in the local pub or something. And if none of those options work, he asks me if I want the package to be left in the UPS office or do I want for the delivery to be tried on another day.
And this is how it should be done.
Actually, when I'm buying from Amazon Business, all of the things that I said do not apply. More than half of the packages that I get from Amazon Business get delivered by Croatian Post. They're always on time. And there is a big difference.
Yes, and this is also one of those things because the problem is the money. You are not paying for the same service, so the post office doesn't provide the service.
But yet, from the perspective of a normal human being, I am.
Yes, from any perspective. Do you remember during the summer you were somewhere and you asked me to get some package for you?
2 packages.
No, you asked me for 1 package, and I got 2 packages because the guy from the post office says, "Okay, this is for the same guy. Do you want to take it?" And I didn't deliver the package. You rerouted the package to my address. And the guy called me, and actual package wasn't delivered at your address. it wasn't delivered at my address. I had to find the guy somewhere in the
Yeah,
city.
you were tracking him all
Yes,
over.
I was tracking him all over the place, and then I found him, and I had to wait near his truck to get the package, and then I got one package extra because he couldn't care less about who is giving the packages
That
to.
was, and I had a live tracking session of that, and a live camera view and everything. It was a cat and mouse game that
Yes,
I
because it
really enjoyed.
and everything was happening at 8 o'clock in the morning because I knew that if I let him slip, you are not going to get your packages in 5 days or so.
Yeah, and something from those packages was actually for you.
Yes, okay, but I didn't care. The thing was that I knew that if I didn't get the packages, they are not going to get delivered. But let's
No.
stop.
Just one more thing. Do you know what I started doing, and hence the reason why I have this T-shirt now, and some others that I bought for both you and me. I started rerouting, or I started asking Amazon deliveries as a private
Yes.
person to our workplace.
Yes,
Everything works fine.
yes, it always works.
It's
Because
manipulative, but it works.
yes, the problem is that they don't. The reason why they cannot lie is that they know that this place is open 24/7, so they cannot say that nobody was there.
Yeah.
Because there is a person there always
Yeah,
in the front office.
It's not 24/7, but Monday, Friday.
Yes,
till
but they
8
don't know
PM.
that. But they don't know that.
Yeah, that's correct. That's good shout. Okay, stop. Let's stop with the post office.
Let's stop with the post office. Let's go with the let's move to the things that actually made me surprised me. So let's
Positively.
yes.
Okay.
So let's talk about the things that I actually didn't know were possible. Support from Google.
Oh, you want to talk about that? Okay.
Yes, I want
We're
to talk
going
about
have
that
different
because
views about
support from
that.
Google
Cool.
is a different beast. If you are not paying for the Google account, so you are not a paid customer, you are going to get what they call best effort.
Okay.
And Google's best effort is awful. Google's best effort basically means whatever. Post to the for some things there is an actual support forum. They say that for a given thing you can post on the support forum, and somebody from Google is going to sometime read this to support forum every 2 weeks or so, and then try to sort out the problems. So if you have a non-paid account or free account or something, what is going to happen is that you are going to get your support from the forum, and this is going to take weeks. But when you start paying for any of the services, they have an amazing support. So even if you pay the lowest possible price, it's something like, I don't know, $3 or so for the lowest possible tier of storage, because I have a grandfathered account when the storage was something like 100 gigabytes or so. The thing is that once you start paying, suddenly you are able to call them, and you are able to directly chat to them, and they solve problems in minutes.
Okay. So this is where our experience is different because I was uninformed.
Yes.
So there's always something to learn. So let me clarify what happened with me. I had many instances in which I contacted Google Ads team in the past as well, not only in the past 9 months since we started doing this podcast, and I was never too happy with their support. Reason being that most of the support was done via email because there are various degrees of let's say insanity that all of the services providing companies go through so that you don't have to talk to an actual person. You know that for a fact. IVR this, email that, email to second region, that,
chat
all
agent,
those.
chat agent.
Chat agent, whatever.
Chat agent.
Then the next stop is going to be just like that guy in India who fired the support staff. So next stop is going to be ChatGPT-alike service that's going to answer to first level support, blah, blah, blah. That's not the solution to the problem, but okay. So I had experiences in which I contacted the Google Ads team, and it took them anything from 2 to 4 days to answer. So my problem is that I was uninformed that there's actually
A shortcut.
a capability to do a chat with them, which I really didn't know. So I will reserve the judgment until I try that next time.
This is true for workspaces. This is true for mail. This is true for most of the services. But for a fact, I know that YouTube has probably the worst support when it comes to Google Land.
Okay.
I know creators who, by listening to them, I know that they got their accounts blocked, taken away. There was the famous thing when CGP Grey, who is pretty known in the YouTube world, got his account disabled because they accused him of copying content from CGP Grey on the CGP Grey account.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Please. This is incredibly unfunny.
Yes.
Do you know why we have a channel strike? We have one strike. We've had it for months.
Okay.
So it's still here. Channel violation, active community guideline strike. We still have it, and we got it somewhere in February or March.
Yes.
Do you know why? Do you remember?
I don't remember. It was something completely stupid, but I don't remember why.
It was because our colleague,
Yes.
colleague, did a installation video for WinRAR.
Yes.
WinRAR.
Yes.
Because I don't know, WinRAR is probably owned by somebody from Russia or something, and they striked that, and I complained, and nobody wanted to talk to me. They just left the community strike there. I mean, it was a video of a person clicking on a installation file for WinRAR. Next, finish. It was just for fun because one of our listeners was joking about that we should do a video like that, and some of our students.
So for one, I think that this is going to get pretty close to be receiving a second strike here because we are mentioning the aforementioned application.
I didn't insult anybody.
And the problem is that it's with all the platforms, with Twitter or X.
Mm-hmm.
But X is not the problem anymore because you can do pretty much anything on X. This is just whatever, whenever.
Can I show you? What the hell is X?
It's just Elmo's pet peeve right now. He's trying to do the Cybertruck and he's trying to do the X. I don't know which is worse, but I'll receive my judgment for later. I think the idea of to go on a tangent, the idea of a truck being made entirely out of stainless steel is good. The idea of the steel being completely unprotected and polished to a high gloss is completely stupid. For whatever reasons, if anybody who has ever owned a piece of steel knows. So I'm going to say this: the X has a problem with the content, and the reason why they have a problem with the content is because they don't have any content moderation.
Really? That's the
They're
problem.
claiming the content moderation, but I'm not going to go into any details. But you can basically see almost anything on X now. It didn't used to be like this.
Okay.
Facebook, YouTube, they are trying to do the content moderation, but the moderation is done by people and by automatical algorithms.
Mm-hmm. Just like YouTube.
I couldn't say which is worse.
Okay.
Because the algorithms don't understand the context, and sometimes the humans also don't.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is that cultures differ. Sarcasm is something that some people don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Some things are things that people are joking about, and it is going to get for some. For example, there is a famous joke that I'm not going to quote here.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to get cancelled?
Yes, that was done by a comedian in United States, and he's actually able to get away with a complete joke. Mm-hmm. That is going to get it automatically banned if you do it right now on YouTube.
Okay.
So he has the video on the video app, and his joke is going to get you automatically banned. And this is some of those things that are not normal, I think. But let's go back to support, because the support is what the problem is. People are used to paying for a service. I don't know, water, heating, gas, delivery, trash, whatever. They're used to getting some support, and they are used to talking to people. Suddenly, we stepped into the world where you have your phone. Your phone is full of applications that you have a zero control over, because they get self-updated, so you cannot stop any change happening in the application. They are cloud-based. when it works for them. They're not cloud-based when it doesn't work for them. So, for example, WhatsApp is going to be cloud-based as far as everything else other than your messages. And then you have no support for this. How to change this? I leave you speechless. That's the first.
No, it's a algorithmic problem. My brain doesn't function the way in which those services offer support, because from the perspective of all of the services that we are using, I'm just a user, just like you, just like everybody else. I completely understand that there is a difference between using a free service and a service that you are paying for. That's completely okay. So you should get, let's say, faster or better support if you are paying for the service. So I have zero problems with that. But there are still so many different ways in which various types of services, and especially automated services, and especially paying services that are automated, can make your life a living hell. And I have a very recent semi-experience with that, with some of the things that I did yesterday and the day before that I want to talk about. So this is my second reason why I have a problem with lack of support. And this support is actually semi-good. So let's say that we are on the way to better support levels. I just I re-signed our college for a academic program by one of the vendors. Filled in the information, add to the basket, blah, 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 name, surname, vet ID, blah, blah, all of the information that was asked. I had to do it twice because I was buying two different parts of the academic program. One was for education, one was for licenses for our students. Did everything by the book. 5 minutes later, I get the first invoice. 10 minutes later, I get the second invoice. Half of the freaking details that need to be there are missing. Okay. For example, we as a customer, in the part of the invoice where our data is, there is no address, and on the part of the source, which we bought the service from, there is no VAT ID. Okay, I struggle to understand how that kind of invoice can even be, made, but that's a topic for another day.
Okay.
Because that's basically in Croatia, doing something like that is against the law.
Yes, it's against the law, but some countries, especially the States,
they have a different
tend to treat invoices as just pieces of paper, and because they don't care, and they don't understand the problems that we have. Because in the company, we cannot, if you are buying something from the company as a person who is responsible for some part of the acquisition, you cannot get your invoice paid unless the invoice actually sticks to the Croatian law, which is normal.
Yes.
And sometimes...
that pushes us to do invoicing and shit like that as a part of our work, which we shouldn't do, but still.
But the other thing is that sometimes you cannot get the actual invoice that you need.
Yeah, and actually, this is what would have happened if I didn't have the prior experience of doing this 3 or 4 years in a row, so I know who to contact. But that's the difference. Exactly the difference that you have with Google against, let's say, against me. You had the experience of doing that. It's just like the fact that I knew what to do here. But normal human beings shouldn't be put through that at all, because there are rules, and these rules exist for a reason. And I don't care that they don't know, because if they are selling the service to our country, there is no discussion that they should abide by the law.
Yes, and the other thing is that the way of handling, from the customer's perspective, the way of handling particular service shouldn't be a thing that is going to be given as an advice between customers. It should be written somewhere.
Yeah.
And do you think that, I know that you don't like mommy state or father state. Do you think that it's time for EU directive that forces the people who provide you the service to provide you with the support?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely, yes. And I know what you're going to say when we go offline about this, but yes, I'm all for that.
No, I'm happy with you, because you're coming to the right side of the things. But I think that over-regulation is one thing, but regulation needs to exist.
No, I'm completely for regulation when it makes sense. This makes sense.
You are the regulator. How do you define the service?
The only way in which you're going to do this is through a combination of punishment and standardized service that everybody needs to hook up to. That's the only way.
Okay, but Viber says we are providing a free service as is. We are not going to provide any support. What then? Do you stop them
Are
from
you talking about a paid service or a free service?
This is the exact thing, because people are used to getting the service for free.
Yeah.
I'm completely on the side of the service providers when they're providing something for free,
Agreed.
because they don't want to spend any more money.
I thought that you're talking about a commercial service.
Yes,
So, okay.
but at the same time, this is a kind of commercial service because some people depend on it. Do we create a new kind of service definition that we're going to call service without any obligations? So basically, we are going to create companies that are going to be able to do whatever they want to, and they are going to be disobedient to the law, and they're going to they're going to have to say it somewhere on their pages and whatever, but they're going to be completely outside of the normal law, and then have companies that are going to abide with the law, and then we are going to say, okay, these are the good companies and the other companies are bad. So the consumer knows that he's dealing with the bad company or the company without support. Or should we just push for all the companies to have the support available for the users? Because you cannot make a commercial entity create support other than that they can afford for a thing that they are paying for.
Okay.
I know that they are selling your data.
Yeah. Okay.
But you cannot put a price on the data. You cannot say that if you are using your Gmail account for, I don't know, 100 email messages per day, this is going to be enough data for Google to pay for you.
There is a fundamental difference between the way in which we do things now and how they used to be done in the past. We know that. I have absolutely nothing against the progress, if it's the progress, but not bullshitting in the name of progress. That's a completely different category. So the first thing that we would need to do is start being aware of the fact that there are many, and then many other things that need to be changed on the law side for this. Because again, I am a very firm believer in free market capitalism and all of that, but I'm also for the rules. And
yes,
I'm
you said that 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, and I'm also for strictly abiding by the rules, because that creates, how should I put this, certainty about the quality of something that you do. That's much more those types of things. That's why standards exist. That's why they exist. So I have a lot of problems with. I'm not now talking in general. I'm not talking about a specific service that we mentioned today. I have a very big problem with the fact that all of the companies are selling our data and whatnot.
Okay, but we first thing that we did, or first that Europeans did, is that they created GDPR as a framework to stop things from happening, and this is completely fine. But they are not addressing the part that all the users have a problem with right now, and this is the support part. Because people are they started to depend on services that are free. You, for example, even in most backward countries, I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to insult anybody. Because from a technical perspective, we were on this list 30 years ago.
We are still.
I'm going to talk about telecommunications. So we were near the bottom, and then we suddenly got to the top because we were small enough to get major players on our market, and at the same time big enough for them to be able to experiment on us. So there was a point in time in late 90s, early 2000s when we actually got things first in Europe or second in Europe when it came to some technologies, 3G, 4G, and so on.
Yeah,
because
ATM.
Yes,
some other stuff.
Because we were small enough that they could afford to do whatever they wanted to with a minor expense, and then test on actual users. And I'm not talking about this because at that point in time you were paying for the service. People got used to normal communication. Now communication through Skype, WhatsApp, Viber, X is going to...
Skype doesn't exist. Okay.
it's a thing. You can call me on Skype. Teams. We're going to get Teams as a separate entity. It's going to become an entity because I think that Teams is going to become sentient. So it's going to
AI sentient.
Yes, it is going to. You're going to call it not Cortana but Teams.
Oh Lord.
Hey Teams, call Vedran for me.
Just when we got rid of Cortana, you mentioned that thing again.
I can imagine a world where I can say, "Hey Teams, call Vedran for me." Create a meeting for us in 10 minutes. But anyways, joking aside, all the different services, I think that the people are depending on. People are depending on Zoom. You can actually get support from Zoom.
Yes.
Because you need to pay for it.
Yeah.
People are depending on WhatsApp a lot. You cannot get decent support for them. You can get some kind of support, but it depends.
Okay.
If it's too complicated for them to solve it, they're not going to do it. Viber is the same. Facebook is completely off the charts. You are not paying for anything. You cannot pay for anything. So if, for example, your account gets hijacked,
we have a colleague in our company who had his account hijacked 5 years ago. Still didn't get it.
Yes, I know. I know. I had the same problem. There is a friend of mine who has the same problem. He just gave up. He was trying to do something for 3 months. He provided me documents with everything else. And what is actually interesting is that the actual documents that he provided contain the same information that he has on his profile photo right now on the hijacked account. So he actually used the same photo, and they said, "Okay, but how do we know that it's you?" And he was providing the government ID. Then he said, "Okay, you know that trying to make fake IDs is against the law." They said, "Okay, we don't care. You can always make the fake ID."
Yeah, they're right. They're right, but they are being pricks.
I think that the problem is that they don't have anybody about them. They can, they are so big, or they think that they are so big that they can make their own law, or they can do a switcheroo and try to play that they are abiding by whatever country's law that they are currently in, and they are not obliged to provide to abide by the creation law. And then when they say, "Okay, but this law also applies to this country," they say, "Okay, we forgot. We are not in this country. We are in this other country that is somewhere in, I don't know, East Asia, whatever." So they can always go against the law, and they can always try to do this. So how do we solve this problem?
Combination of laws, punishments, teaching new best practices. I don't know. Do you have any ideas? For free services, you just cannot guarantee it. For the commercial ones, you have to have support. I don't care what the company, what the cost for that for a company is. Nobody cares.
But what I would say is that there is no non-commercial service.
I would say that we've grown accustomed to thinking that free services are commercial services as well.
But they are commercial services because they couldn't afford the infrastructure to provide them if they didn't have any income. So they're creating some sort of income out of you. The thing that you are not paying with is the money, but you are providing them some information, data, whatever, that enables them to function. So I think that they should be classified as commercial services. This is first thing. And the second thing is that they should be obliged to follow the rule of law that is the same for other commercial services, just because they are just simply using different stream of income, but they are not different from any other commercial service.
Can I offer one more outrageous advice?
Yes.
I think most of these super big companies should be broken in smaller parts. That's a start of discussion of monopoly, etc. I know, but I think that the things that we kind of encountered in the past 10 to 15 years, too big to fail banks, too big companies to fail whatnot. And this is speaking from a free market capitalism way. I think that having the companies that are too big is a detriment to the quality of the service in vast majority of the use cases. But you can pick whatever company you want to from your previous rant about that. I will stand by that statement for them.
I'm going to just say that this seems completely normal for me because monopolies always create problems. And as soon as the company is too big to fail, quotation marks, it is usually too big to fail because it has become a de facto monopoly. It is amazing how some companies fail to create monopolies when they actually can. Hint, hint, some of the companies that fail to monetize the video communication market during the COVID era.
Okay.
It's amazing how some of them completely missed the ball.
It's amazing how some of them grew overnight and fell from their heights and now are being dragged by the mud by their own stupidity, like Zoom.
Yes, it's also this. But the thing is that you seem to have a pretty rigid idea of a free market.
The thing that I said?
Yes.
I know you didn't expect that, and I said it's outrageous, but I
No,
still
no,
stand
no,
by
it's not outrageous.
This is I think that if you stick to the idea of just normal free flow capitalism, I think that what I said makes sense.
But this is the problem with every idea that we have come as humanity on how the thingy that we live on should be run. We have tried socialism, communism, capitalism, feudalism, whatever, and it seems that the only problem with all of those social concepts or structures is the people. Somehow they are not behaving like they should be behaving by the structure.
Look around you. Every single problem that exists, almost all of the problems that exist are there because people made them.
I got you saw the citation from the quote from the Twitter today that we should go from serverless to clientless.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes, so I think this is one of those things. So the users are the problem.
Yes, of course, because we're too stupid.
Okay, but then the state should dictate some sort of a minimal level of support for every company. Okay, correct?
Yeah. The legal framework.
How much is minimal?
You have no idea.
I have an idea.
You do? Okay.
I think that you should be able to report to a separate authority when a company is actually actively breaking the law. For example, with invoices. So there should be a structure somewhere in the EU, Croatia, whatever, probably in the EU, that I can report an invoice to and say, okay, I asked for an invoice. This invoice does not conform to my law. I have no idea how to talk to whatever company I'm dealing with. Can you sort these things out? And then make companies create direct connections to this particular service that is going to be provided to us.
That's what I said, centralized service, API,
because
something.
EU actually provides you with some services.
We have a service for that. I could report this to our taxation service, but probably what would happen is that they would charge me with something and make me pay a fine, although I was not to blame.
Yes, but for some things like planned obsolescence or material defects on the products, you actually have a brokering service in the EU that is going to do the work for you.
Yeah.
But only if you are a private person.
Excellent.
Because they are not applying the defects, the manufacturing defects law doesn't apply to businesses. There is a reason for this. Because they are trying to protect the customer. They're not trying to protect these businesses because they want to try to actually say, okay, it can happen that you need to deal with this stuff in your business. It can happen that something is in defect, so you cannot just exchange this. So there is such a framework with the different other things. Should we just stretch this framework?
Copy paste.
Stretch this framework to incorporate support. And set the limits. For example, if I send an email and nobody's answering for 2 days, can I just contact the
somebody and tell them that nobody's answering?
That they're not talking to me. They're not talking to me. Can you please help?
Basically,
I want to tell on companies. I want to tell on companies.
Yeah, he wants to be a complainer. That's what he is.
Yes, but everybody needs to be a complainer sometimes.
Correct.
You need to have some sort of recourse against the companies because otherwise they're going to ignore you. and
Yeah.
they're ignoring you.
Actually, yeah. I have a couple of really, really positive examples from in the past couple of months about this. If I can share.
I'm going to just say that I have amazing experiences with some companies.
Yeah, let me start first.
Okay.
You can continue down the path. For example, Amazon.
Usually, yes. If it doesn't involve creation post, yes.
Okay, specifically, I'm talking about Amazon Business again. I had 2 or 3 encounters with their support in the past 3 or 4 or 5 months. Every single time, okay, it was 3 times. 2 out of these 3 times, I got a phone call, in less than an hour.
Yes.
And the 3rd time, the problem was solved even without having to do a phone call. And actually, the 3rd one included a situation in which I paid for a device that we wanted to use, and it wasn't shipped to me for the next 3 or 4 weeks while being available, so being in stock.
Yes,
and
I remember this because I had the same problem, and then I told you how to fix it.
Yeah, and I contacted support. A very, very pleasant guy from UK called me. He called me on Saturday, which was even more amazing. Asked me what I want to do. I wanted to cancel the order. He also noticed that I have another ticket outstanding, which included another item. And basically, at the end, he canceled the item for me, although it took him a couple of days because it was some kind of complication. I couldn't cancel it, and I tried. That's another pet peeve that I have. Not being able to cancel an order that's being back ordered for a while because of some kind of a software system or whatever error. Don't get me started. And basically, at the end of all of that, I also got a free shipping. So he basically returned the shipping costs for me as a, let's say.
But this is the other thing. This is the thing that our post did for you. So basically, the idea is this. I don't know if any of you, please, in the comments, if any of you had the same problem. So basically, you go to an Amazon shop, you order something, you see that it is right now available for shipping. You order something with regular shipping because you don't want to pay, I don't know. Regular shipping is something like 7 or 10 euros. Other shipping services are 25, 30, 35, whatever euros. And you're buying something that is, let's say that you're buying something that's going to cost you 30 euros. So basically 30 euros for the item, 10 euros for the delivery. You order it, you wait for a month. It doesn't get shipped. You contact Amazon support. Amazon support tells you that they're going to look into it. Then they call you and tell you that they are unable to ship from this particular location to Croatian. You say, okay, what can I do? I actually need this particular item. They say you cannot do anything. You can just cancel. I'll tell them, okay, can you just cancel it for me? Yes. Okay, they cancel it. I go to the sorry, I didn't tell them to cancel. I just said I'm going to just see what I can do. I went to the particular item in my basket, and there is a button that says upgrade shipping.
It says what?
Upgrade shipping.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
you can upgrade the shipping price.
I know.
I upgraded my shipping to 30 euros, and suddenly they were able to ship the same day.
Yes, because
this made them switch from Croatian Post to some other delivery company.
DHL,
I think it was some DPD or whatever, but it was the other delivery company. And the reason is because they have so many problems with Croatian Post that they are trying to actively avoid it.
Actually, there's another.
Then I complained to the Amazon guys again, and I said, yesterday you told me this is not available. Right now it is getting delivered because it became available as soon as I upgraded the shipping costs. Are you actually trying to make me pay more for my shipping? And then they completely reimbursed for the shipping costs. So I got the free shipping on this particular item. And it works.
There is another reason why this happens. I don't know if I discussed this with you, but I had a same experience. And I had a discussion, again, on the phone with a very, very cool guy working at Amazon support. This was when I was buying my Mac Mini.
Yes.
Because it was stuck I paid for it, and it was stuck in the ordered, whatever, for 3 weeks. And I contacted support to check what's happening because it was available all the time. And the guy called me and told me the reason why we cannot ship this to you is because you took the option of the cheaper shipping, which means we have to use the Croatian post. And the reason why we cannot send you through that is not because of trust issues or problems. It is because of the handling of certain types of devices that contain whatever, lead, something, whatnot, cannot be done by the Croatian post. You have to upgrade to the more expensive one because DPD, DHL, UPS, whatever, they do have compliance to the standard that allows them to ship the things that have that sort of metal or whatever it was in. And that's actually a very reasonable explanation.
Yes, but
the unreasonable part is that I was even offered the cheaper.
Yes,
option.
they should explain to you that you cannot use this particular option because this option does not provide with whatever.
And there's actually another thing while we're on the Amazon subject, because I've been commending them so far, pat on the back, good job, Amazon business. There's one thing that pisses me off to no end, both as a business customer and as a private person. When you put the things in your basket, in Amazon basket.
Yes, they can change the price.
No, that's okay because of the taxation and everything. Just wait for a second. Or pricing across certain regions and countries and whatnot. Not okay or by the book, by our law, but whatever. I'm not getting into this. It's actually related to something else. By default, did you notice that they always or almost always select the more expensive shipping option?
Yes.
This pisses me off to no end. And the part that pisses me off even more, when you go to your order, you go top to bottom, the part for the shipping is actually way lower on the screen. And you have to be acutely aware of the fact that the pre-selected option is the more expensive one. I became aware of this because when I was doing an order, I noticed that an order is, 250 euros. And then the shipping costs were 90 euros. I was like, what? And then I scrolled down and noticed that they pre-selected the more expensive option.
But I don't know if this is pre-selected because they want to get your money out of you, or is it selected because they have worst experience with the post office available, so they're actually just trying to mitigate the problem with a lot of shipments being lost.
It's not that.
And they are not paying any attention to how much money they are trying to get out of you. Because in the States, usually the difference between different shipping companies is minuscule.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't want to ship by, UPS, you want to ship by DHL or FedEx, whatever,
USPS,
you can switch to the couriers and they're going to say, okay, this is going to be $1 more. In Croatia, it can be 10 times more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if this is the algorithm trying to save you money by basically making extortionate amounts of money out of you.
Yeah, that doesn't sound convoluted at all. Yeah, I still have a problem with this practice because when I change from the more expensive to the cheaper one, it still allows me to take everything and everything gets delivered. Your t-shirt is a proof of that. Because that's exactly what I did with that shipment as well as many others before that, because Lord knows I spend way too much time buying stuff on Amazon.
Okay. So I'm going to quickly go through the different companies that I had amazing experience with. I'm going to say that since I'm buying and you are buying a lot of refurbished components, every company that I have dealt with that was selling refurbished components was amazing. I was doing with Server Shop 24. They were amazing. They were able to ship some things that I paid on Monday. They got shipped on Tuesday. I got them on Thursday in the morning. So basically something that was 20 odd kilos in weight got here in 48 hours, completely correct. And nothing was lost, stolen, or broken. And they even checked if everything is okay.
Yeah, I did some business with them as well.
Yes, so this one, FSCom.
Yeah, that was my next one.
No, FSCom.
The best company ever.
Vimo Antenna or Vimo, they're dealing with the ham radio equipment. The guys that are going to actually call you if you make a mistake in your shopping cart.
Because somebody goes through
goes through your shopping list and says, okay,
wrong order,
you got the wrong
connector.
cable with this connector, and you are going to get the other cables. So basically, Thomann.
Yeah.
Thomann.
So this is where I could jump in because you mentioned Toman and I have way more experience.
And I'm going to
with
just say, all of these companies, for some reason, are based in Germany.
Yeah, for some reason. I really don't want to say out loud how much money I spent on Toman, but I started buying from them in 2006.
Okay.
I had situations, I'm not joking, I had more than one situation in which they haven't even, they haven't even done the confirmation of taking the money from my account or
Yes.
from my MasterCard and sending me stuff.
So pre-authorization, yes.
Yeah, basically they just go, stuff is sent, we know you're going to pay, let's go. I had that many, many times, and I'm not talking small orders.
Yes, because you already have the customer history with them, and then they know that you are not going to give the information, give the wrong orders back. You're not going to lie to them, and so on.
I had one over the course of, so that's like 17 years, 16 years, whatever, since I started using him. Only once I contacted their support, actually twice. I contacted their support. First time was when I was buying a B-stock guitar.
Yes.
Somebody bought a very expensive guitar from Luxembourg. For some reason, didn't like it, returned it. They slashed the price by 50%. I was like, yeah, that's mine. The first thing that I did, I contacted support because I asked them very politely if they could send me some pictures of the guitar. So the guy who received that email, coincidentally, we do chat quite a few times, went to the freaking warehouse, which is at the other end of Trappendorf, took the camera with him, made something like 20-30 photos that were like 300-400 megabytes in size. Every single detail, perfect light, whatever, came back, uploaded on Google Drive, sent me the link. I was like, you're kidding me. Now, I mean, even if the guitar wasn't as perfect as it was because it was brand new, no scratches, no nothing, I would have still bought that thing and paid a lot of money for it because of that level of support. So that was the first time. The second time was when I bought a guitar amplifier. It was a Marshall amplifier, so I received it as usual. UPS, everything perfect, blah blah. My UPS guy did a splendid job. Came to my place, opened it up, and I hear some sort of a rattle, some kind of a noise coming from inside. I unscrewed the back of the amplifier, noticed that one of the screws has gotten loose.
Okay.
Which is basically a transport thing, but perhaps it happened on transfer from the UK to Toman. So I sent them an email saying, okay, I have this small problem. I sent them a picture of which screw it was, because usually these things happen in series.
Yes.
Many, many times, if it's a serial type of problem. This is the problem. This is the way you fix it. I'm not sending. I actually explicitly wrote, I'm not sending this email for you to give me anything or whatnot. I just want to offer you the support that you always gave me. 5 minutes later, I receive a reply email with a Toman voucher for, 20 euros. For what? I specifically said I don't want it.
Yes,
because that's the way in which they do
Yes,
business.
but you probably saved them a lot of money because somebody would return the
Yeah,
amplifier.
I told them, go to the warehouse. You probably have some other amps that have this problem. It's much easier for you to just open them, screw them in, which is less than 2 minutes of work, and solve that through your customer support division than for everybody to send the amp back out of fear of connecting it and having a fear of that amplifier blowing up or something. This is my punchline for this. Good support can be done. That's it.
Good support can be done, but usually it costs money.
I don't care. Amazon's, Google's, Microsoft's, VMware's of the world, they have way more money than Toman does. And actually, most of them nowadays have good support.
But the biggest problem that I have is I'm going to just here go on the record and say that probably the biggest thing that I was disappointed with was Microsoft.
Really?
Please
do tell.
Because even if you are a paid customer, even if you have a huge account connected to them by Office 365, I'm talking about hundreds of users. If you have a problem, sometimes they're going to be notoriously unable to do anything, and then they're going to just drag you around. I had a problem because what happened is that one of the customers that I was working for actually got a couple of hundred users, and he wanted to upgrade them to another version of Office 365. So he had one type of license, and he wanted to upgrade to another type of license. We are talking tens of thousands of euros. What happened is that he received the message, automated message from the Microsoft, and he thought that he understands the message. And what he created was he had a tenant that had all the users on it. So basically, all the users were set up. Everything was done for them in a particular server. And then he misunderstood the instructions, and he created another tenant, and then associated the license to just another tenant.
Okay.
This is wrong, but can be.
I wonder how it could be done, but yes, okay.
Okay, there is a license transfer procedure that you can do.
It.
What he actually did wrong was that he forgot the domain account or the administrator account for the second tenant because he didn't think about it. He just created the tenant, sent the tenant ID, the license got assigned, and he lost the tenant account.
Okay.
And he said, okay, I need to reset the tenant account. They had his first name, last name, phone number. And they said, okay, we need to talk to him. And then his last name contained special characters that are normal in Croatian.
Yeah, diacritic.
He was trying to talk to the guys in support. They couldn't understand him. So they actually cut the call because they said that he was trying to scam them because he's not telling the same name that is on the contract. Because a guy who was on the other side didn't understand Croatian enough. My colleague didn't speak
English well enough. Some kind of
how
English.
How do you pronounce to a person who has never heard je? How do you say this is an actual thing when he sees it in front of him?
You don't.
And the other thing is that if it says Z and you send the ID is going to be said je. So this is a special letter in Croatian language. It's also in the other Slavic languages, but we have it. So he couldn't tell them who he is. And I was completely, then I came in. My last name is even worse. I was trying to talk to the guys, and then out of complete, utter despair, I know a guy in Microsoft in Croatia, and I talked to him and I said, what should I do? It's a month and a half, nobody can use the office and so on and so on. What should I do? He told me, okay, I'm going to give you a Skype info for a guy who works in Microsoft, who works in level 2 support. He's going to guide you to it. I called the guy. He said, you need to call the automatic line. They're going to connect you to a tier 1 support somewhere. I think I got connected to Spain. Somewhere.
Okay.
And we were going through, so basically the level 1 support was going through the playbook for the call, and they were asking me questions of what is the name of the person, what is the number, what is the address, what is DNS, and so on and so on and so on. And then they came to the part when they said, okay, now you need to contact this person in order to make sure that he is okay, and we need to make contact with the person because we want to make sure that that he is the person who you said he is. And my guy on the Skype said, tell them that he's dead. And I said, okay, but I was talking about myself. I was the person who was involved in the call. I said, for myself, I said, he is dead. I said, dead. Okay, now can you change the DNS? And I said, yes. Okay, then done. Change it to this. This is going to work. I changed the DNS. Everything was okay. So it took me a month and a half before I came to the point when I said that I'm dead. And then when I said that I'm dead, everything was completely okay, and Microsoft switched the account over.
Okay, can I offer a different situation? I had quite a few support calls with Microsoft crew for some of the tenants that I work for over the past, let's say, year and a half. Before that, I did have mixed experiences, but in the last year and a half, they solved every single one of my problems without any additional actions required or whatnot. So how do you like them apples?
Rotten. rotten. I think that the biggest problem is that it depends. It depends.
Same thing for AWS, by the way. I had a couple of problems. No, they solved all of that.
But okay, AWS is different because they know that they are going to overcharge you for everything. So support just comes free. So it's just part of the package.
I actually needed to upgrade the AWS account to include support for some things to work, or I thought so because I didn't. Basically, I made a company that I work for pay a couple of dollars more per month, but I just didn't care, and still don't.
Okay, so let's wrap this thing up. We got anecdotes about good things. We got anecdotes about bad things. We talked about support. What do you think? Should companies be made to provide good support? This is the first thing.
How are you going to measure good support?
I'm going to say
No, that's a question that needs to be answered, not by you.
Yes, but I'm just going to suggest two things. Time. So does it take more than 48 hours, 2 weeks, whatever, to solve something? And the other thing is the company actually actively breaking the law and not providing you with any...
So questionnaire with two questions.
Yes, and they're not providing with any way to avoid breaking the law.
Imagine that situation. If you every single sale that somebody makes, whatever service or product, that has to be coupled with a questionnaire that's hooked up to some kind of a centralized service which asks those two questions.
I can see in European Union, I can see hundreds of millions of euros being dumped in the central database that is going to take care of this. But yes,
No, I mean, just an idea.
Okay. So this has been a completely off-topic Data IT show. I'm still Jasmin, he's still Vedran. I'm not going to let him finish. And thank you for being with us. Subscribe, like, press the bell, do whatever it takes to get us over 10,000 subscribers. And
we're going to have that tomorrow, probably.
Yes, it's going to happen tomorrow. But until then, see you next time. Bye.
Bye.